Welcome to the That's Life podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Makita.
Welcome back, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever you want to be able to call it. I'm hoping that you're doing really well. So here I am. My name is Shane. I'm here with a podcast with you. I'm here to talk about things that help me get through the day and help me get through all the things that I have to get through with you. So I'm hoping you're doing well. Since the last podcast we had a couple weeks ago, I think it is, I've had a lot going on, a ton going on. And I know in the last podcast, I talked a little bit about the adversity that I was overcoming and all the things that have been happening in my life with kitchen remodels and flooding in kitchens and family and aging and all these amazing, amazing things thrown at me in every direction. And here I am. I'm here right now, standing 2 feet on the ground with the ability to be able to do the things I need to do, to accomplish the things I need to accomplish and go the direction I need to go. Here's one of the things I wanted to be able to talk to you guys about, though. It's on the same vein and same theme as what the last podcast was about, and it was all about making sure that we have the wherewithal and vision to be able to see adversity when it comes our way. Now, you guys know what adversity is. Everybody here knows exactly what adversity is. You guys have all dealt with it. You guys have all dealt with the trials and tribulations of life. Everything's thrown your way a certain direction, at a certain time, at a certain level, and in a certain amount. That might seem insurmountable, and the ability to be able to overcome it can seem something that's impossible. But you have the ability to be able to do it. It's just getting through it and getting to the other side of it is the key. What are you doing to be able to prepare yourself for that? And let's be honest here. I think, even though it's cliche, and I know a lot of people will talk about this and we'll have conversations around this left and right. All the folks that I know have had conversations about this, around you have to go through the stuff to get to the stuff. You got to be able to overcome any adversity that's thrown your way to be able to learn from it, to be able to grow from it, and to be able to attack whatever else is coming your way next with all those learnings that you had from the previous experience. Now, like I said, that's cliche. But I want to read a quote to you real quick. And I think that this is going to be very relatable to every single person that's on this podcast right now, listening with their headphones on and everything else. Here it goes. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. You see, each and every one of us is a diamond in the rough. We're not perfect. We come with many flaws. We come with many imperfections. And each one of us is different in our own unique way. Just like a diamond. Diamonds, even though they might say it might seem to be perfect, but each individual diamond is actually a different pattern, a different cut, a different clarity, a different carat, all these different things that come into each individual diamond that is out there that's been polished up, ready to go. But imagine what that diamond has been through to get to where it is right now. Thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds of pressure. Years and years and years of that pressure just sitting and friction and moving and all those things to be able to create the beautiful things that we know as diamonds. Now, most people will see the end product of a diamond. They'll look at a diamond and say, that's really beautiful, that's pretty, that's awesome, that's amazing, and all those things. And we see the end product. But we don't necessarily see the work that went into making that diamond what it is. It's kind of like the behind-the-scenes stuff, right? When you're watching a production on the stage, the amount of work, the amount of practice, the amount of energy, and everything else that goes into that production is a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into that. There's a lot of falling down. There's a lot of tribulations and trials. There's a lot of re-rehearsals. There's a lot of people not showing up, people sick. There's a lot of lighting issues, a lot of speaker issues, a lot of audio issues, a lot of all kinds of stuff, production issues, everything. And if you've ever been involved with something like that, you know the amount of work and the amount of energy it takes to be able to move that forward. And then when the audience sits in the chairs in the theater and watches this production, and they see whatever it is displayed on stage, and they see it go off without a hitch, so perfect. The notes are hit, the lines are hit, the styles are hit, all the marks are hit, everything's on, the lighting is good, the fog that rolls in is perfect. All the actors know their lines, they're on point, everybody's healthy, we're good to go. All these things and all these moving parts went into this production for you to be able to sit there and enjoy and watch and reap the benefits of. But the work that goes into it, the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that the nitty gritty is the most important. It's the most important part of that whole entire production. Every single one of us knows exactly. Every single one of us have that exact same thing going on. We have a behind the scenes production team. All of us do. And here we are. Oh, that's dumb. Every single one of us would love to be on that stage and be able to be in a perfect production, right? But like I said, most people don't know what goes into making that a perfect production. Just like most people don't know the amounts of years and pressure it goes into making a diamond. This could be relevant to anything you want to talk about. Anything. And anything that's worth fighting for, you should be able to know that it takes work to get there. You got to put the work in to get the benefit. You got to put the work in to be able to have an end product that is worthwhile of what you want to be able to accomplish. You also have to be able to fail. You got to be able to fall down. You got to be able to skin your knee, and you got to be able to do the things that are necessary for you to be able to learn, grow, and succeed in every single situation that you're coming into. How many of you, just like me, go into something new, you're nervous, you're looking at yourself going, I can't accomplish this. You have self-doubt creeping in. You got all these different things that are happening. And you're looking at yourself going, well, I've never done this before, or I have done it before, but I failed. I don't think I can do it again. All these negative words and connotations and all the things that you want to throw at yourself to be able to just kind of almost set yourself up for failure. So that way, when you do succeed, or if you do succeed, it is more of a surprise and you're not let down by the fact that you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, that's a human nature thing, right? A human nature thing is for us to be able to look at a situation, go into a situation, something that we want to accomplish, and we immediately start to self-doubt ourselves. We start to tell ourselves all those negative thoughts. You know, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You've been through it before, and you failed in the past. You've heard all these individuals telling you that you are not good enough. You've had all these people look at you and say, oh, man, you've done this so many times before. Why don't you change it up or go do something different? Even though it is extremely important to you to be able to try to move forward and do the things you want to do. Yet you have people in your life throughout your whole entire life. This isn't just a singular item or a singular issue or a singular situation. This is about people that naturally are already pessimistic with everything you're trying to do. So if you come to them with, I want to be an actor, they're going to give you 15 reasons of why it's bad to be an actor. Here's a little story time for you. I know me personally, many of you know, I lost my job recently, and so I'm looking for more jobs. So one of the things that I decided I'm going to do is I'm going to go into try to get my license in insurance sales here in the state of Maine. Now, I know this takes a lot, and I know that the exam is a big deal. And I know you got to study for it. And I know you got to put the work in for it. I know you got to do all the things that are necessary for you to be able to get that license, to be able to go where you want to go or do the things you want to do. Now, let me tell you what I heard from, I'll say, maybe 10 different people. I had one or two people that said to me, hey, you know what? That's not bad, man. You can make really good money with that. There's a lot of stability in that because you know that people need insurance, life insurance, health insurance, all these things. People need these items. So basically, you could be a broker to be able to sell those. And then if you build a good enough clientele and a good enough base, you're going to be able to continue to move forward and reap the benefits of future renewals, et cetera, et cetera. So I knew this part of it, but I was like, oh, cool, man. Thanks for saying that. But let's talk about the other 8 or 9 individuals that I had a conversation with. Here's some of the things I heard. Listen, it's commission-based. That's a huge risk. Like, I don't know what you're thinking with that. I need to have a salary or an hourly wage. Here's another. You know, sales, do you really want to do sales? Like sales, really? Don't you want to do something that you can actually just reap the benefits of it and be able to continue to move forward? Sales is hard, and if you don't make the sales, you don't make money. Here might have been another. You know, salespeople, especially insurance salespeople, are super sketchy. They are shady. They're cutthroat. They come after you. They want to get you to spend the most to get the least, et cetera, et cetera. Now, these are just 3 of the items and conversations that I had prior to me deciding I'm going to move down this direction, because I was kind of having conversations with people and talking about the direction that I want to go in. So I could have taken this one of 2 ways. I could have said to myself, okay, I am not going to go down that road of going insurance sales because I've had so many people so far tell me all the negatives about what insurance sales are, even though, mind you, almost every single one of them have 0.0 experience in insurance or sales. But they're subject matter experts. They know all about it. They know all about the ins and outs. They've seen people fail in the past, and they know what this looks like. And they know that they feel that they have to come to me and they have to tell me all these things that are negative about it. I hear you. So I could have gone down the road of walking right down the road of going, nope, I'm not going to do that, because so many people have shared their negative stories, thoughts, and everything about that direction and that focus and that area of sales. I could have done that. I could have got that negative self-talk going. I could have sat to myself and said, you know what? I'm in my 50s. I'm starting over a brand new career because my last job outsourced and laid off and needed to cut some ties and whatever else that happened. So I'm in my 50s. What do I want to start again? Do I want to start somewhere else and do something else? Well, here's the thing. I could have gone down the road of just going down that negative Nancy stage, and I could have said, nope, I'm not going to do that. But I also know that I want to do something different. I want to challenge myself. I want to be good at what I can do and also be paid really well to do what I want to do. Right? Don't we all? I think we all want that. And I know there's risks, but I'm going to still continue to go down the road and the other path against all of those negative naysayers. And I'm going to do the work, and I'm going to put my first foot forward, and I'm going to do everything I have to do to make sure that I can provide for myself and my family and continue to move forward, learn a new career. The pressure of taking exams and tests again at 50 years old is difficult, right? I already did that when I was in my college years. I already did that with bachelor's and associates and master's degrees, all that stuff. I did all that in the past. I didn't think I was going to have to do it again, but here I am. And I know that if I really want something, I can go for it. But here's the key. The key is, am I ready and willing to put the work in, and am I ready and willing to fail at certain times if it starts to fail? It's almost like I have to prepare myself for the worst during a situation, even though I know I'm on the path to being able to be successful and move things forward. And I have to be able to be mentally prepared of how to overcome adversity when it comes my way. What's my plan B look? What's my plan C look? How am I going to navigate? Am I going to go around or am I going to go through? What am I going to do when something happens? What am I going to do when 1 week it happens that I don't really get that much pay because nobody's buying? And I'm on a commission base. So the money's tight. I know these things are coming, and I've prepared myself mentally for this. But if I want something bad enough, I should be willing to fight for it to move it forward. I should be willing to put myself out there and be as aggressive as I need to be able to be the person that I want to be and do the things that I want to do, because I'm worth that investment. And so are you. Hey guys, one of the things that I get from a lot of individuals that listen to the show, that watch the show, that follow me on social media is, how can I help the podcast? Well, here's one of the ways that you can. I have a Patreon page. Now, you may not be familiar with what a Patreon page is, but what you can do is you could sign up to become a patron of the show. You could donate monthly to the show. Now, after a few months of donating monthly to the show, there's different tiers to be able to donate to. But you'll get some tchotchkes back. You'll get some merchandise back. You'll get something for actually donating to the show. But in the meantime, it helps to alleviate some of the cost that comes into running a podcast or doing different stuff. So if you're looking to support, I'm going to place the link of the Patreon page right into the bio. And I'll also tell you what it is. It's www.patreon.com/that's_life. And this way, you can support the podcast, you can give back, we can do all kinds of different stuff, and we can grow together. So I appreciate all the support you've given me in the past and in the future and right now. So thank you so much, and back to the show. If you want something bad enough, if you want something that you want to be able to go for, maybe it's a dream you have, maybe it's an aspiration that you've had for years and years and years, and you've doubted yourself and you've shot yourself down and you've had other people that have doubted you all around you, and you've never been in a space where you actually believe in yourself rather than belittle yourself, you got to be able to learn how to overcome that. We have to be a better advocate for ourselves. And we can't be ashamed of being an advocate for us. Because at the end of the day, who else is going to be an advocate for us? You know, even our most loved and prized people all around us, a lot of times, as we all know, they go into this negative space of going, oh, wait a minute. You know what? You've done this before, and I believe in you, but, and there's always a but, right? There's always a but. But, you know, the market's tough, or, oh, but, you know, I don't want to see you fail, and I don't want to see you be sad. Oh, but, you know how the last time that this happened, it was just really difficult. And they feel like the tough love that they give you, these loved and cherished individuals that are part of your life, are doing it from a place of what they think is a really positive space. What you are receiving it as is a really negative space. And so when you surround yourself with negative people, oftentimes you're going to get negative results. So part of this whole entire podcast here that we talk about overcoming tribulations, overcoming trials, part of it is being prepared for it when it comes. So when it's coming your way, you've got individuals that you know are in your life, you know are in your circle. These are individuals that you go to, whether you go out and have some drinks, go out and have some fun, hang out with each other, you bonded, maybe you've known each other since high school, any of the things, right? And at the end of the day, you know that they're in your life. You know that they're a part of everything that you do. And so preparing yourself mentally for their conversations and their negativity when you bring up or broach a subject that you want to be able to move forward and trying something different or trying something new or trying something that's going to challenge you. You know what their response is going to be. So you need to then prepare yourself mentally for, how will I respond to that response? Will I rebut? Will I come back at them? Will I argue with them? Will I tell them exactly how I feel? Or will I just walk away from it and say, you know what? I don't need that in my life. I'm just going to keep on moving. Either way, it's a plan in place for those types of situations. And when trials and tribulations come, you can be as prepared as you want to be. You can try your best to be able to line everything up, be prepared, know exactly what's coming. Okay, I got this under wraps. And the first second you put one foot in front of the other, you fall flat on your face. And then you're like, oh, wow, this is a lot tougher than what I thought it was going to be. So you learn, how do I pick myself back up? One leg at a time, one arm at a time. Do I lean forward? Do I lean to the left? Do I sit back first and try to pick myself up on the back end? Do I sit on my tush for a little bit to be able to catch my breath and then try to one-handed pick myself up. All the different methods of trying to be able to pick yourself up after you've fallen down on the ground is so important and key. But here's another important part of it. As you're going through that and you're deciding, how do I pick myself back up after being decimated or smashed onto the ground or whatever, how do I pick myself back up is something that you need to start to take notes on. Here's part of the learning. Okay, so you failed, you fall down, you have a blip in the road, a blip on the screen, a bump in the road, whatever it is, a mountain, whatever you have to overcome, whatever your euphemism or whatever other things you want to be able to try to bring into play here. But you need to learn how you got up first. Not how you overcame, but how you got up first. How are you feeling? At that moment in time, what was your headspace? How did you overcome that headspace instead of just laying there, not getting up, and sitting there giving up on the situation? How did you overcome that moment to overcome your feelings, your negative thoughts, your words you were saying to yourself? And those are important things to write down as well. How are you talking to yourself during these times? If I'm having a conversation with myself that's totally negative, what do I need to do to right turn Clyde that conversation and have a conversation with myself that's more positive, that's more aggressive to being in a good headspace versus a negative one? So first, you jot down and you journal and you take down all the situation. Okay, here I am. I've fallen down and I'm laying on the ground like the lady from the Lifelike commercial that says, I've fallen and I can't get up. And you feel like you can't get up. Yet you do. You get up one arm at a time. You stand up, you're brushing yourself off. And you say to yourself, okay, I failed on that aspect of this. Do I continue to go down the same path of what I just learned from that? Or do I change it up a little bit? Because we all know the definition of insanity is repeating the same exact thing over and over and over while expecting different results every single time, when you're more than likely going to get the same exact results. So if life tells you that's not the direction you want to go in right now, that's not the path you want to take to get to where you want to get to, you still want to go for the goal because that's important to you, and you're in love with that aspect. You want to be able to go down the road of doing that. But at the same time, if you continue to go down the same path, you're going to hit the same roadblocks, the same detour signs, the same thing thrown right in front of your face for you to be able to say, nope, can't go this way. This is not the direction you want to go. So are you going to learn from that and be able to pivot and adjust slightly? It doesn't have to be a huge change. It could be just a little bit of a turn or a little bit of a 10-degree spin of the wheel, just a little bit, to get around the obstacle, to keep on moving forward. But maybe now you're on a back end path of a little bit different because you've overcome adversity to get to that point. Each step along the way, you need to start to think to yourself, how am I achieving the things that I want to achieve? You then have to take inventory of all the things that you're going to go through and the trials and tribulations you're going to go to get there. Because remember, a man perfected without trials, right? Nor a man perfected without trials. That's part of the quote. A man that goes through trials, or woman that goes through trials, learns 10 times more than a person that gets off scot-free with a silver spoon in the mouth and never overcoming any kind of adversity, never having to dig deep or figure out how to put food on the table or how to be able to live life or be a parent and everything else while still trying to be able to achieve the personal goals that you might have or professional goals you might have. These are difficult situations. They're not easy, but you're worth the investment. You're worth the time it takes to be able to say to yourself, okay, here's what I got to do. Here's what I've overcome. And here's the direction I need to move in because this is that important to me. And here's another thing. If you're going through the situation that you're going through and you're trying to be able to get to whatever goal that it is, right? I don't know, climbing Mount Everest or Kilimanjaro or whatever else, all these goals that you have, right? You're shooting for that goal because that's important to you at that moment in time. If halfway through you've hit your 7th, 8th, or 9th obstacle. It may be time to just back it up a few paces. Go back to the beginning and understand, how does square one begin? Because obviously I keep on hitting these roadblocks in the road over and over and over again. The climbing of Mount Everest is still very important to me. It's very, like, I need to be in that space because that is what I want to be, and that's what I want to overcome. And that's the thing that I want to accomplish. But if you keep hitting the roadblocks, it's okay sometimes to put the little beeping and the backup sound to be able to go back to square one or square two and say, okay, how can I approach this differently? If this item is important to me, I need to make sure that I adjust and I pivot to make sure I'm setting myself up for success as I move forward. Now, like I said earlier, when you're taking inventory and you're taking notes and you're doing the things that you have to do to make sure that you realize, I've got to make sure that I am truly learning from my situation. That's probably the biggest thing that people learn or people figure out very quickly, is the fact that when they keep on repeating that same exact negative action, or the action that they keep hitting walls on, it gets frustrating. And then what do? 9 times out of 10, you give up. You just give up on the whole thing and you move on to something different. Even though that item was super important to you, that action was on one of your high priority items that you wanted to be able to accomplish in life in general. And you gave up on it because life got hard. The situation got hard. Too many things were thrown at you. Legitimately, you were sitting down going, I don't know how a person can take a beating like I've taken right now, and I'm just not going to go down that road because life obviously is trying to tell me that this isn't the direction you want to move in. No. I don't think life is telling you anything like that. What I think life is telling you is you're going to work. You're going to work, and I'm going to throw some adversity your way. But if it's worth it for you, if it's worth it to you, that end game is worth it to you, you're going to do whatever, however, and whenever it takes to be able to get to the end solution, go for your goals, and to try to achieve the dreams and aspirations you've always wanted to. But the other key is you got to be your own big supporter. You have to be your own cheerleader. You got to be somebody that steps up to the mic and says, here I am. I believe in me. And I know that that's difficult. I know that that is so hard to do, to believe in yourself, because human nature creates that whole mantra of we are our own worst critics. And we're going to tell ourselves that we can't do something 10 times faster than we're going to tell ourselves that we can accomplish something difficult. So here's all the priorities, guys. Is the item you're fighting for, and is the item that you're going for, worth the time and the effort? Number one, figure that out. If this is something very important to you, then make it a high priority item, and now you come up with a plan to get there. So now you map out your plan. How will I get there? Do it ahead of time. Don't just try to wing it. Do it ahead of time. Sit back and say to yourself, how do I get there? What are my steps, and what am I going to do? Then also, you can also prepare yourself for the fact that you might have to adjust, pivot, and overcome. So what is plan B and C on the path of getting to where you want to go to? Write this stuff down. Map it out. Because when we wing it, that's when we have a lot of the issues. That's when we run into so many roadblocks because we're not prepared. We're not looking at something from a bird's eye view. We're looking at something in the here and now. I'm in the mud. I'm in the muck. I'm just trying to dig through and do the things that I have to do. And that's where frustration kicks in. And that's where giving up kicks in. So now you've written down your goals. You've written down how to get there. And then you need to leave a lot of really good space on this action plan you're putting into place. That's going to say, how did I get there? Step one, what did I overcome? Did I have some failures? Yes. Did I have successes? Yes. How did I feel in each one of those situations? How did I overcome it? Well, how did I do? What was my self-talk looking like? Was I being supportive of myself, or was I being just a negative person to beat myself down to be able then, push myself the right direction? Write this stuff down, because if you find something that works for you, you got to use it again. I already said earlier, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Well, guess what? If you tried something and you were successful at something, why not repeat, wash, rinse, and repeat? Why not do that? Because you've learned from it. You learned what to do. You learned how it made you feel, and you learned everything moving forward. So you can use that to your advantage, just like you can use a negative situation. So come up with your plan. Get ready to overcome adversity. And again, I'm going to read this quote to you. I want you to hear it. I want you to hear the words. A gem or a diamond cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. We're going to go through stuff. Expect it. Embrace it. Love it. Because all you're doing is learning and growing and getting better for the future that you want to achieve in life. Much love, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the That's Life podcast. Please leave us a 5-star rating and any feedback on whatever platform you're using.